Greetings, folks. Scott Galbraith here, also known as the Great Scott. And now that I have actually watched the third season of Cobra Kai, I thought that I would give some of my opinions. First of all, I got to say that this is their best season yet. I have probably watched episode 10 multiple times since I watched the whole thing through. And there's a lot of things I could say here. There were a few things that I was, I guess you could say, slightly disappointed about, but the disappointment, as Ali says in the final episode, the good far outweighs the bad. Things I liked. I liked where they had Dimitri this year. There were times that his sensitivity or his neuroticness, as Daniel put it, kind of actually got on my nerves in the first two seasons. I like the fact that there were, despite the fact that the poor guy got his arm broken, I was glad to see that he had gotten to a place where he could hold his own in a fight. I thought that what they did with Samantha and tying her fear into Karate Kid 3 was very nicely done. One of the things I was disappointed about was the fact that Johnny and Daniel's team up didn't last longer. It only really lasted episode 2. It was done by the end of the episode after the fight in the garage. They were right back at taking shots at each other, and I don't really think they shared any screen time until they were at the prison, and then again when they were at the Christmas party with Allie. I like the fact that they brought back Bobby. I had said in my video, they could bring back either of the two Cobra Kais that were left anytime that they wanted to, but there'd have to be a good reason for it. And, I should have seen it coming because of all the Cobra Kai that returned, Bobby, they told us that Jimmy had a wife and kids, but the one person that they made it clear to reference his job was Bobby, that he was a pastor. And, they didn't even have him in an outfit that made him look like a pastor. That made me wonder, okay, are we going to get to see him being a pastor at some point? And lo and behold, they brought him back for an episode. So I hope we do see him again. I thought the way that Komako and Chosen came back was very good, and I think everybody saw it coming a mile away that Chosen was going to honk Daniel's nose like that. Also, I must say, having Chosen turn over a complete new leaf and realize he was wrong is a direction that I think is very good that I actually didn't think of. To be honest with you, if I look back at the Karate Kid movies, when you're a kid, you always fantasize about characters from different movies in the same series, teaming up or whatever. Like, after Karate Kid 2, they had Karate Kid action figures, and I think the ones that they had were Daniel, Mr. Miyagi, Chosen, Sato, Johnny, and Kreese. And I had always thought that, Sato would be on the good guy's side because he turns over a new leaf during Karate Kid 2, but, Chosen was without a doubt, of the three movies with Daniel in it, we're not counting Karate Kid, the next Karate Kid here. In the original trilogy, I think one of the reasons why everybody thinks Karate Kid 3 is the weakest of the bunch is because they did the epic. Part 2 was very hard to follow because, as Mr. Miyagi says, this not tournament, this for real. And so, Chosen was definitely Daniel's most lethal adversary, in my opinion. So it's kind of, but you now have an issue that everybody here has brought up. Everybody who has reviewed this season has brought up, and I'm going to join in right with them. How Daniel can get over the fact that Chosen tried to murder him that easily, but still keep up his high school rivalry with Johnny, let's put it this way. I'm really hoping that, I really am glad that they ended this season with Johnny and Daniel on good terms. Or, like every season, there has been an episode where Johnny and Daniel get along, but then the piece is short-lived. You have Different But Same in season 1. You have the episode where they accidentally meet at the Mexican restaurant and they end by shaking hands in season 2. And both of those situations, their peacetime is short-lived. Even at the beginning of season 3, when they start to work together, that's a short-lived piece. I don't know. There's a lot of people that have speculated, is this alliance between Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do going to last? Well, here's my prediction. Will it last the whole season till the end of till they do the tournament? Yes. Will it be a smooth ride? No. I think that there will be plenty of arguing between Sensei Lawrence and Sensei LaRusso over how to run the school. I think that their students might even have to step in and say, "Guys, calm down, please," from time to time. And I think Miguel is actually in a perfect position to do that now because he's the one person who has actually heard both sides of the story genuinely. And I don't know if meeting Allie has healed their rivalry in a good. I love the moment where Johnny goes, "Merry Christmas, LaRusso." Well, Daniel. It's the only time in the history of the show he's called him Daniel, or in the history of the first film either. He always called him LaRusso. Anyway, so, and the revelation that it was the little girl that Daniel rescued in Karate Kid 2 was a great twist, and I did, like a lot of people, I looked it up and found out it is the same actress. Now, in regards to where the show is going to go next, I want to directly respond to somebody else who's done reviews here, which is the Cobra Kai kid, I believe he's called. And he said that Thomas Ian Griffith, who played Terry Silver, has retired from acting, so we will probably never see him on this show. And this season really set up that they want to bring Terry back. It was crystal clear. But one thing that Ralph Macchio has revealed in a recent interview is when they set up the ending of season 2 with the friend request from Allie Mills, they hadn't approached Elizabeth Shue about coming back yet. They had no idea if they could get her back. Luckily they did, but they did have a plan B in place if they hadn't brought her back. The plan B was Johnny was going to show up at that restaurant and Allie's husband shows up and warns him off, saying that he was the one writing to Johnny and that she is not interested in him anymore because it was so many years ago, which would have taken things in a different direction, but it still would have brought some closure for Johnny. I am so happy that Elizabeth Shue wanted to come back, because I think the scenes between Daniel, Amanda, Johnny, and Al are some of my favorite this season, without a doubt. And it puts Daniel and Johnny in a good place. Now, there's some people who said, is this a line? Are they going to stay on good terms after this season? Well, that's hard to say, really, to be honest with you. I mean, this whole show was built on the tagline, "Some rivalries never die." And I got to be honest with you, since we didn't see Johnny at all after the first 10 minutes of Karate Kid 2, I never really thought of him as somebody who would have blamed Daniel all this time for all of his hard luck. I mean, that's an angle that I never predicted. The way he feels about Kreese, dead on. I mean, the fact that when Kreese first showed up, first thing he does is fight him, that's exactly how I thought Johnny would have felt about Kreese. But as far as who is responsible for reigniting this rivalry, I think there's plenty of blame to go around. There's plenty of blame to go around. Johnny was in a bad spot, and he impulsively brought back Cobra Kai, which he now regrets. But Daniel, I think, was kind of reacting from his trauma of being bullied. I think he assumed that it was the exact same Cobra Kai during season 1. Some of the stunts he pulled during season 1, I'm not too crazy about, like trying to get Johnny evicted and stuff like that. But season 2, when Kreese comes back, that I can understand Daniel being upset about. But there are also times that Daniel doesn't make the best decisions, like when the dojo got trashed, he immediately assumed Johnny was behind it. And those are times that you really don't know who to root for, which is what makes the show so great. Now, as far as bringing back Terry Silver next season, because like I said, it looks like they're going that direction, but the Cobra Kai kid said that Thomas Ian Griffith is retired from acting. Another thing is that as far as Sean Kanan, who, I don't know if I said his last name right, Sean Kanan, who played Mike Barnes. Here's what I think about Mike Barnes returning. It's not a question of if Mike Barnes is going to return at some point. It's a question of when they're going to bring him back. For the simple reason that the writers have said nothing's off the table as far as the 4 Karate Kid films, because they're all canon. Secondly, this is the first time we had a direct flashback to Mike Barnes when Daniel was talking to Samantha. And thirdly, Sean Kanan is the one actor from the original franchise that has been campaigning since the first season dropped to be on this show. He's constantly putting Cobra Kai stuff on his Twitter. There's some paparazzi footage, like I said in my last video, there's some paparazzi footage of saying that he would do season 2 if they asked him, but they didn't. One thing the Cobra Kai kid even pointed out was he's been, excuse me, I had lunch just before I did this video. He was very much open about the fact that nobody had approached him about being on the show prior to this season, and now he gets asked that question and he shuts right up. So that makes me think they have something planned for him. Now, the Cobra Kai kid also brought one other thing up that was kind of interesting. He said that because the theory is that it's not Terry Silver that Kreese is calling at the end of the season, but it's Mike Barnes. I would not be surprised if we were to find out that Terry Silver is not alive anymore in present day. that he died somewhere. Maybe his crimes caught up. There's one scene in Karate Kid 3 where he's talking about a grand jury indictment. He says to John Kreese at one point, "I'm lucky if I make one deal a year without being indicted." So there's a chance that he did the whole revenge thing for John Kreese because he knew going to jail was right around the corner. And maybe he got killed in jail. Maybe he committed suicide. I don't know. But what would be really interesting would be is if part of their deal that they made was that Mike Barnes ended up inheriting some of Terry's wealth, and he's now in kind of a position. Because, one thing that they said is that this show always flips the script. Mike Barnes was a karate punk in Karate Kid 3. Wouldn't it be interesting if now he were kind of like what Terry was in Karate Kid 3? So I think that there's some potential to that theory that maybe it's Mike Barnes who Kreese is calling, and he's going to help him out. I can't help but wonder if that's their plan B if they can't get Thomas Ian Griffith. Now, because Thomas Ian Griffith has said he's retired from acting. Now, he's still in the business. He's a screenwriter. And it's been my opinion that people who are still in the business but haven't acted are easier to pull out of retirement. A perfect example of this would be Alex Winter, who played Bill S. Preston in the first two Bill and Ted films. He hadn't acted in 20 years, but he remained a documentary director, and he came out of acting retirement for Bill and Ted Face the Music. Now, there are examples where you can't coax people back. You notice they only had 4 Cobra Kais during season 2 because Chad McQueen, who played Dutch, had left the business and become a race car driver, and he didn't want to act anymore. So it's a toss-up as to whether or not we'll ever see Thomas Ian Griffith playing Terry Silver. But here's what I don't think they should do. On one of the videos, the Cobra Kai kids said that maybe they're going to have the young Silver from the flashback be made up to look like an older Terry Silver. Creators of Cobra Kai, here's what I would say. Don't do that. Okay, do not do that. I would rather have no Terry Silver than a recast of Terry Silver. Because the only person that they have recast so far, and I don't know if anybody paid attention to this, the actress who was playing Allie's mother is not the same actress who played Allie's mother in the Karate Kid movie. But she was only in one scene, so that's not a huge deal. But most of the legacy players, there's never been a recast. I mean, they even got the same little girl back who rang the bell, for Pete's sake. So someone like only Thomas Ian Griffith can be Terry Silver, or Terry Silver in modern day. So if he doesn't want to do it, have it be Mike Barnes that Kreese is calling, because Sean Kanan has been wanting to be on this show forever. Well, not forever, but since it started. Okay? So, I to be honest with you, there's a part of me that wonders why would they be twisting the arm of somebody that they would have to coax back in when there's somebody who's been saying, I want to be on the show the whole time. So, at this point, and here's the other thing. Given the fact that they were very closely woven into the same storyline in Karate Kid 3, you would almost have to bring Mike Barnes and Terry Silver back at the same time or have it be one or the other. Anyway, that's just my opinion. That's my rundown of Season 3, and like everybody else, I cannot wait for Season 4. So I'm the Great Scott, and that's my honest opinion about that.